Yasuo is already one of the strongest swordsmen in all of Runeterra. He's not just fast, he's not just skilled. He can literally wield the wind itself. But League of Legends has many different versions of Yasuo. Some are just stylish, some are stronger than the original, some belong to completely different universes. And one version is basically a cosmic force of chaos. So today, we're ranking every Yasuo version from weakest to the strongest. Not by gameplay, not by which skins feel the smoothest, and definitely not by what Yasuo mans would say, because if we did that, they would just pick Nightbringer and the video would end right there. We're ranking them by lore, implied power, and how dangerous each version would be in its own universe. Starting at the bottom, we have True Damage Yasuo. True Damage is League's music universe. Champions like Akali, Echo, Senna, Kiana, and Yasuo are not fighting wars here. They are artists, performers, and producers. And in that universe, Yasuo is one of the best. He's the quiet veteran producer behind the music, the kind of a person other artists respect because he does not need to talk too much. But in terms of power, there is almost nothing here. And if we threw every Yasuo version into one giant fight, this guy would be the first one out, probably still trying to drop a track, while everyone else is dropping him. So True Damage Yasuo is easily the weakest version. Prestige True Damage Yasuo is basically the same. He has more fame, more style, and better clothes, but that does not make him stronger. So both True Damage versions can stay at the bottom. So the next is High Noon Yasuo. High Noon is a dark western universe. At first, it looks like cowboys, guns, outlaws, and desert towns, but the deeper you go into the skin line, the more it becomes a world of devils, angels, and hellfire. Yasuo's role in this universe is more grounded, coming from an earlier version of the High Noon setting. He's the mysterious sheriff of a small desert town, living in exile after being accused of murder. He has defeated entire bandit gangs and some of the deadliest threats in the desert, so he's definitely not weak. He's the kind of a man who can walk into a town, tear it a little, and still make it clear that he's not someone you want to cross. But compared to the higher High Noon beings, Yasuo does not seem to be one of the demonic or angelic forces. He's not a devil nor an angel. He's a very dangerous man in a very dangerous desert. That puts him above true damage, but still far from the top. Next is Original Yasuo. This is the main Yasuo from Runeterra, an Ionian swordsman, falsely accused of killing his master, forced to kill his own brother in self-defense, and left wandering Ionia with only the wind to guide his blade. This version is already very strong. He can wield the air itself in combat, that alone makes him more dangerous than most normal warriors. He can block attacks, create tornadoes, move with incredible speed, and turn the wind into part of his sword style. But Original Yasuo is still human. He's powerful, but mortal. His story is not about becoming a god. It is about guilt, exile, and redemption. So, Original Yasuo is strong, but many other versions give him extra weapons, magic, or supernatural powers. That is why he cannot go much higher. Now, there are two Yasuo skins that are a little different from most of this list. DOG Yasuo and Foreseen Yasuo. Most Yasuo skins are alternate universes, but DOG feels more like a later chapter of the main Yasuo. After his original story, Yasuo becomes involved in the Ruined King storyline, fighting against Viego, the Ruined King, alongside other champions. So chronologically, DOG comes after original Yasuo. But power-wise, he belongs higher on this ranking, so we will definitely come back to him later. Foreseen Yasuo is also different. This is not a cowboy Yasuo, music Yasuo, or space pirate Yasuo. It is more like a possible future for Yasuo, an older version of him, alone, lost, and still trying to find his path. So Foreseen Yasuo goes next. Foreseen Yasuo is basically an older possible version of the original Yasuo. He sees a path where he becomes an old man, alone, and far from everything he once wanted. He has given up ambition, family, and love, all to atone for sins he can barely remember. This version is not necessarily stronger in raw power. He is older, probably slower, and maybe past his physical prime, but he also has something younger Yasuo does not have: experience, a lifetime of fighting, regret, and survival. So I would put Foreseen Yasuo slightly above the original, not because he's stronger physically, but because an older Yasuo with decades of experience is still terrifying. There is a saying, fear the old man, in a profession where men die young. And Yasuo is exactly that kind of a man, especially when that old man can still use the wind as a weapon. Next is Project Yasuo. Project is a cyberpunk dystopia. This universe is ruled by advanced technology, corporate control, organized soldiers, rebels, and artificial systems that are slowly swallowing humanity. So basically, Cyberpunk 2077. Yasuo is part of the genetic rebels, fighting against Project corporate leadership after being accused of a crime he did not commit. The biggest upgrade here is his weapon, a plasma-coated blade. And if normal Yasuo is already dangerous with steel, then Yasuo with a futuristic combat technology is obviously much worse. Project Yasuo is faster, deadlier, and better equipped than the original. But his power still comes mostly from technology, and technology has its limits when the higher versions start dealing with demons, dragons, and cosmic forces. So Project Yasuo is strong, but not close to the strongest. Next is Battle Wolf Yasuo. Battle Wolf Yasuo belongs to the Anima Squad universe. This is a world where humanity is fighting evolved monsters, and the Anima Squad becomes one of the last lines of defense. So yeah, technically, this is Fury Yasuo, but bear with me. He's not just Fury Yasuo, he's like full military grade Fury Yasuo. He was the first captain of the Wolf Squad. He fought alongside Riven during the early days of the invasion, disappeared, and later returned as a battle-hardened survivor. This version has everything Project Yasuo has, but with even more war experience. He's not just a rebel with advanced gear, he's a veteran of a war against evolved monsters. He has seen the enemy from the very beginning, survived long enough to watch them evolve, and then returned to warn the Anima Squad that the war is getting worse. That makes him one of the strongest tech-based versions of Yasuo. But he is still a soldier. A very strong soldier, but still a soldier. So Battle Wolf Yasuo goes above Project, but below the more supernatural versions. Next is Inkshadow Yasuo. Inkshadow takes place in Rabadon City, a world where magic means control, and the Cabal controls almost all of it. And who the hell is Cabal? I'm not entirely sure, not gonna lie. If you resist them, you either submit or disappear. But this is where the Inkshadow warriors come in. They are rebels who make deals with spirits, gaining magical tattoos in exchange for something deeply personal. Master VE sacrifices part of his lifespan. Yone sacrifices his identity, becoming the man of masks, someone nobody remembers. And Yasuo gives up his freedom. That is what makes this version interesting. And with that power, Yasuo rides the wind between Rabadon City and the outskirts, protecting civilians or trying to escape the Cabal. So this is not just another magical Yasuo. This is Yasuo as a rebel protector, using spirit-powered tattoos to fight a regime that controls magic itself. That puts him above most of the tech-based versions, because his power is not just equipment, it is supernatural, personal, and directly tied to his body. But I still would not put him near the very top. Inkshadow Yasuo is powerful inside his own universe, but compared to Demon Blades, Dragon Blessings, and Cosmic Chaos, he still has clear limits. So Inkshadow Yasuo is strong, just not final tier strong. Next is DOG Yasuo. DOG Yasuo sounds like a joke, and honestly, this might be the most fitting name Riot ever gave him, because in my ranked games, Yasuo is also usually a dog. But lore-wise, this version is way stronger than the name suggests. Unlike most skins on this list, DOG Yasuo is connected to the main Yasuo's journey. This is Yasuo during the Ruined King storyline, when he becomes involved in the fight against Viego, the Ruined King. And during that fight, he's empowered by the Bukhro. Now, the Bukhro are not just some random pirates, they are people connected to the Nakagaboris, the great serpent god worshipped around Bilgewater and the Serpent Isles. Nakagaboris is all about life, motion, struggle, and moving forward, which is actually funny because Yasuo is one of the worst possible champions for that philosophy. His whole character is built around guilt, regret, and being unable to let go of the past. So, DOG Yasuo being chosen by the children of Nakagaboris is weird. But that is exactly why it matters. He's not just Pirate Yasuo, he's a later version of the original Yasuo, spiritually empowered during one of Runeterra's darkest conflicts. Viego is not a small threat. The Ruination is one of the darkest events in Runeterra. The Black Mist can corrupt people, kingdoms, and even souls. And DOG Yasuo stands against that darkness and comes out alive. This is a serious feat. DOG Yasuo is probably the strongest version with the stupidest name. Next is Spirit Blossom Yasuo. Spirit Blossom is an Ionian myth universe. It is connected to folklore, spirits, death, memory, and the stories people tell about the souls of the dead. So Spirit Blossom Yasuo is not powerful in the same way Project or Sea-Dog. He is powerful because he is mythical. This version turns Yasuo's story into an Ionian legend about two brothers fighting a bitter war across Ionia. Yasuo is the younger brother, a warlord accused of crimes against his country, and both brothers are fated to fall in their final duel. So Spirit Blossom Yasuo feels less like a normal man and more like a figure from a myth, and I think that matters. But I still would not put him above the versions with very clear power boosts. He is legendary and he is symbolic, but Blood Moon, Dragonmancer, and Nightbringer are simply more dangerous in terms of raw power. Next is Blood Moon Yasuo. Blood Moon is a dark cult universe. It is built around masks, rituals, demons, and the Blood Moon cult. And Yasuo's role in that universe is very direct. He is the cult's ceremonial executioner. His blade is inhabited by a bloodthirsty demon whose hunger for death can never be satisfied. And the scary part is that Yasuo's own inner darkness may be even deeper than the demon itself. And no, this edgy line isn't even mine. It's literally in the skin's description. That makes this version extremely dangerous. This Yasuo's sportsmanship combined with a demonic blade. He is built for execution. The only reason he's not higher is because the next versions have dragon blessings, and dragons usually push the power level much higher. But Blood Moon Yasuo is easily one of the strongest non-dragon versions. Next are the Dragonmancer versions. True Dragon Yasuo and Dream Dragon Yasuo. And I think these two can be talked about together because they are basically two versions of the same idea. Both stories begin with Yasuo reaching the end of his human strength. In one version, he stands alone against an army, blocking a narrow mountain pass so innocent people can escape. That is True Dragon Yasuo. In the other version, the battle is already over. Yasuo is wounded, dying, the last living soul on the battlefield, and he plays one final song on his flute. That is Dream Dragon Yasuo. But both are chosen by dragons, but for different reasons. True Dragon Yasuo is chosen because of his sportsmanship. Dream Dragon Yasuo is chosen because of something more mysterious, his song, his final moment, and maybe the dream between life and death. Also, the Dragon of Truth choosing Yasuo is already suspicious, because no Yasuo main has ever told the truth after going 0-10. But jokes aside, both versions are extremely strong. True Dragon is probably better in a direct fight, but Dream Dragon feels more supernatural, so it put Dream Dragon slightly above True Dragon. But this is one of the most debatable parts of the ranking. And now we reach the strongest version, Nightbringer Yasuo. Nightbringer belongs to the Dawnbringer and Nightbringer universe. This is not a grounded world. This is a cosmic conflict between light and darkness, order and chaos. Dawnbringer Riven and Nightbringer Yasuo. And Yasuo is not just a warrior in that conflict, he is the embodiment of chaos in the cosmos. He was born at the dawn of creation and is fated to clash with Dawnbringer Riven for all of time. That puts him on a completely different level from every other version. He is not a warrior who received power, he is a cosmic force that makes him the strongest confirmed version of Yasuo. And finally, Genesis Nightbringer Yasuo. Genesis, which literally means beginning, sounds stronger. It does sound like the original form, and visually it probably does look cooler than the regular version, but lore-wise, Genesis Nightbringer uses the same story as regular Nightbringer, so I do not think we can honestly put it above him. At best, Genesis Nightbringer is tied with Nightbringer. At worst, it is the genesis of Riot's predatory gacha systems, because when a skin needs 40 Sanctum pools, the real cosmic battle is not between Dawnbringer and Nightbringer, it is between Yasuo mains and their wallets. So for confirmed lore, Nightbringer Yasuo is still the strongest version. Genesis can stand next to him, but not above him. And if Chaos itself is number 1, then the real question is, who is number 2? The Dragon Blessed Warrior, the Demon Blade Executioner, or the Sea-Dog, who somehow survived the ruination? Oh wait, Did I forget Battle Boss Yasuo? Yeah, I did. But honestly, I do not like that skin, and I don't think anyone likes that skin, so let's just put him somewhere below 3 damage Yasuo and move on. Okay, bye.